Refuse to play small. Like, it is beyond time for you to take up your space. Hello, welcome to a brand new episode of Big Creatrix Energy with me, Gabriella Rosie. Today we have a very hot topic. Today's a little bit spicy, intentionally spicy. It's great to be intentionally spicy. I want to talk about the fact that we didn't come here to be mediocre. Whatever it means to you to be mediocre, to live a mediocre life, to be bored shitless by the things you're doing, or probably more importantly, by the things you're not doing, by not going out and living the life that you want to live, by not being the person that you want to be, by not taking up the space in the way that you want to take it up. That is how I see, living a mediocre life. And we're being a bit spicy with it, and it's fine. That's not why we're here. We're not here to do that. And I think if you are in my world, you're probably somebody who likes to do things a little bit differently, to live in your own kind of way. And I think there is a level of self-assuredness that is required to be able to live a life where you do things in your own way. Unintentionally, you're going to be going against the grain of what people do, or what things you should be doing at certain times, or what your life should be look like, or what you should be prioritizing. If you are somebody who wants to create your own way of doing things, and that's not the same as the way things are done in your city, in your town, wherever, then you are required to back yourself and your decisions constantly at a very deep level. And this might be coming up for you guys, especially when I'm recording this. It's around holiday times, and that's often, when we're spending more times with our families, or we go back home, and different levels of comparison can come in, or we can feel like we should want something because it's what other people want, and all of those annoying as fuck stories, but that are very true. I think if you're listening to this, then you probably have this same kind of fear or thought processes that I do around just the word mediocre. Feels like a fucking trigger word to me. So best believe I'm using it very intentionally here. But I actively do not want to live a mediocre life. And I think the reason why that feels so fucking scary to me, like the concept of living a mediocre life, is because I know what the possibilities are. I see people doing fucking amazing things. I see that I'm capable of doing amazing things. I've already done so many things that have blown my fucking expectations away. And I don't see a ceiling for that. I don't see a limit of what can be done. I don't think of things in the way that, that person did that because they're super special. I really see the world as like, we're all capable of blowing ourselves away, constantly blowing ourselves away with what we're able to do. And I think because I'm so excited by that concept of all the things we're able to do, I'm also fucking terrified about not doing those things. And it's this weird thing, because I think the actual having the fear means that you're not gonna do that, right? And I want to talk to you a little bit about how I think we can utilize feelings that can be like, this is the thing I'm afraid of, and like we can look at it and see how we can use that as the thing that's actually going to propel us exactly where we want to go. We don't want to live boring lives, and I think that feeling can be really overwhelming and suffocating, of not wanting to live a boring life, of not wanting to just do the same cookie cutter shit. That fear of not fulfilling your dreams can be really suffocating if you don't know where to direct it. The fucking amazing thing is that you can choose to direct your energy that comes from your feelings, that comes from your beliefs. You can choose to direct that energy in any direction that you want. And the last episode of the podcast was I was talking about that. I was talking exactly about that, about reprogramming your mind. And that's kind of the step one to what we're talking about today, of like, why are we doing that? Why are we going through the process of seeing what our thoughts are, seeing what our beliefs are, and figuring out ways that we can use those things to direct us where we want to go, to be really intentional about, okay, I have this fear, I have this desire. How am I making sure I'm positioning myself to get what I truly, truly want out of life? This is all really for you. I want to put a big fucking disclaimer on this, which I feel like I always do, but it's not about comparing yourself to other people or looking down on people or looking up at people, pedestalizing anybody. It's not about feeling like you have less than someone, so you have to have more in order to not be mediocre. This is so fucking personal. Your journey to becoming your most expressed and becoming your most embodied self, that's going to look like creating the exact life that you want. It's so specific that comparison doesn't even play a game in this space because it's irrelevant. You suddenly realize like how irrelevant it is to compare what you have, what you don't have to other people, because of course we're all going to have completely different things in our lives by design. You can see things that other people have that maybe you want, and really shifting from that place of envy to like, oh shit, that person has that thing, that person's done that thing. That means it's possible. That means that it's a thing that I can also do and have and figure out. Cheers for being inspiration for me. There is no need to waste our time, waste our energy in feeling shitty about things when there's always something that you can proactively do about any situation. Always. So what I'm talking about here around this fear of being mediocre, it's really about designing your life. Designing what isn't a boring life. Designing what is an exciting life to you. It's about doing the things that excite you regardless of whether other people get it. And really for me, like when I think about living a boring life, that is really like not doing the things that fulfill my desires. That's me not taking action to create the things that I want to create. It's me keeping myself small, stifling my own dreams. It's really all about how it feels, the feelings around not taking up your space, not showing up in the world in the way that you really want to. On the other side of that, when I think about living my biggest life possible, that feels so fucking exciting that it forces me to take big risks, and it forces me to make moves that scare the shit out of me, because I'm like, I know that on the other side of this move, I'm going to be closer to where I want to go, or at least I'll have figured something else out that's going to help me get there. There's no way of taking risks, of making moves that's going to pull you further back, because it's all learning. We're all gathering data through every single thing that we do. And I think when you start to build this into, I guess, your personality of being like, I'm a person who takes risks, I'm a person who takes action, I'm a person who owns what I want and moves towards it and isn't afraid of having ambition, that is when hot shit happens, basically, because you're in motion, because you're refusing to be mediocre in whatever way you deem that for yourself. It's literally in doing that and taking action and taking the risk and being that person who shows up for their life in a really big, really active, 100% all in kind of energy. When you're doing that, your life could never be mediocre. It just couldn't. And this isn't about shitting on anyone else's life choices. As I said, it's not about comparison. It's not being like, that's a normal thing to do, I'm doing something different. That's all bullshit, right? It's the exact opposite of what we're talking about here. I want us to feel empowered to do the things that we want to do the things that we want to do with our lives, even if that's not typical, even if your family doesn't understand it, even if your friends think you're wasting your time, whatever. Because the more you show up doing the things that you want to do, being the person you are, then you're telling other people who you are. You're making it easy for the people who get it to find you. And I promise you, you are going to inspire so many people who maybe aren't thinking that way or don't see themselves in that way. People you know in real life, you'll be able to inspire them in ways that you don't anticipate. What I really want to get across here is, if you don't want something, there's no way of tricking yourself that you will be satisfied with having that thing, because that's what most people do. Whatever that looks like for you, I think it's very important to realize what you don't want and to just let go of it and be like, that's not going to be part of my life because I literally don't want it. And I don't need to convince anyone. I don't need to convince myself of it. I can just decide to go in the direction of the things that I do want, to take the information of learning shit, I don't want that to be part of my life. That's not how I envision my future. I don't want those things. I don't want to live that kind of life. That can give you clarity of just wiping some options off the board. And then you can be like, okay, now let's explore what other things I can do. What other things do I want to create? How do I want to take up space in the world? How do I want to structure my life? How do I want my days to look? Where do I want to be living? All of these things. When you realize what you don't want, it gives you clarity. It gives you space to define and figure out what it is that you do want. And you don't need to have a crystal clear answer for the thing that you're creating, for the vision that you're building. It can and it will all be revealed through the process of creating, of living, of doing your thing. Listen, like I am absolutely yelling at myself here, screaming this at myself, but let this be a wake-up call to me, to you, to all of us, right? If you don't want a mediocre life, stop doing mediocre shit. Just fucking stop it. The fears, the procrastination, the keeping yourself small, that is mediocre shit. And I don't think there's necessarily a tip or a hack or a 5-step process that will cure any of us of this mediocre shit. I think it comes down to being way more excited and pulled by our desires, and honestly kind of repulsed by what we don't want, and so turned off by it that we run in the opposite direction. And it comes back to when you look at reprogramming your mind and choosing the beliefs that you want to create, the life that you're creating, it's looking at the stories that you're holding. Like, are they pushing you in the direction that you want to go? If not, let's rework them. Let's pick new stories. Let's write ourselves some hot affirmations and figure out how we can weave that into how we see the world, and get more and more comfortable with taking risks, get more and more comfortable with owning and being in full conviction of the lives that we want, and not coming from the energy of trying to convince anybody that you should be doing what you're doing, but just fucking doing it. And people can come along, people can enjoy it, or they can step aside. And I think about this all the time when I look at, the moments that I think have really changed my own career, my own life. It's all come down to making a big move, taking some kind of big risk after being bored of my own bullshit. After just being like, fuck, we're waking up, we're doing the same shit again. I'm doing this thing that I told myself I didn't want to do anymore. Something has to fucking change. And it keeps happening like that. I keep getting bored of my own bullshit. I keep figuring out things that I'm doing where I'm like, oh shit, you're playing really tiny there, Gabby. Why are you doing that? Let's spread out a bit. Let's be bigger. Let's go for the thing that you really, really want to do. And be cool with the fact that you might not even get it. But through trying, through taking up your space, through figuring it out, you're figuring yourself out. You're redesigning the path quite literally as you make it. And this getting bored with things, getting bored with ways of thinking or ways of living, that has really continually been the thing that's forced me to make different choices. Forced me to do the things that scare the shit out of me, but I know will push me to where I want to go. Because if we're comfortable and if we're not bored and if we're like, this is okay, this is good enough, this will do, where's the action taking? Where's the need to take action? It doesn't exist. You're okay, like you're going to get by. And there needs to be some kind of tipping point where you're like, nah, this is not gonna cut it anymore. I'm bored of this shit. Let's do something different. And the reason I say bored instead of like rock bottom, blow up your life kind of level of change is because I think it's really helpful to just be like, I don't want this to be part of my life anymore. It's not necessarily like the worst thing in the world, but I've realized this is boring. This is unsatisfying to me, so I'm choosing something different. And being in that quickness to take action before it gets to the point where you can't fucking breathe and take a second of it any longer. You are allowed to make big decisions just because you want your life to be more exciting, more fun, more luxurious, just because the decision is going to get you closer to what feels great every day, you can make that choice. It doesn't have to be in, rock bottom, very extreme situations. And I think the quicker we are to make those decisions to change things, to be like, I'm bored of that thing, I'm doing something different, the easier we are flowing, because we're in momentum. We're like, oh, I can change things. I can edit things around my life quite literally whenever I want. And you build this habit of changing things, of not being so tied to your identity, of not having things be central to your personality, so it's so hard to let them go, but instead you're in this constant shifting, evolving kind of space, and you are used to looking around at your life and being like, which bits can I move? Which things can I change? Where can I add more pizzazz? And look, like, making real moves towards what you want, it feels incredible. It really does. It feels fucking great to have a dream, to figure out something. What can you do now? Like, you don't have to figure out the fucking 10-year plan. You can just be like, this is the thing that I think I want. What is the first step available to me now to do to get myself close to that? And when you are actively doing that thing, when you're showing up every day, knowing that you're getting yourself closer to who you want to be, how you want to be living, that feels amazing, because you are quite literally empowering yourself to create your life. You're not taking a passive seat. You're not sitting at the sidelines of your life being angry, being bored, feeling like all you can see is the mediocre shit. You're taking action. You're putting yourself in control of your own life, and it feels fucking great. As soon as you start moving, it genuinely matters less whether you get the exact outcome that you planned or not, because you're active in your life. You're already doing the thing. You get into that place where it's like, oh shit, it really is the journey and not the destination. Like, you are already being the person that you want to be. If you want to be an artist, when you sit down every day to create art, look at you go. You're being an artist. You're already doing the thing. You don't have to put the dream away in the future for a different version of you to have, when you know for a fact there are ways you can live that out already today. What I really want to encourage you to do is to fucking refuse to play small. Like, it is beyond time for you to take up your space. And I want you to really take this energy, into 2023, but also just into life, into your life today, into the future. It feels really good to show up as yourself and to express yourself and to be playful with it and to be really experimental with your life. And this is something that I really, really want to encourage everybody to explore more, this showing up and like owning who you are, like really, truly owning what it is that you desire and not being afraid to be seen wanting something, not being afraid to be seen as trying. That is such a huge thing. We can be so afraid that it's embarrassing to be seen as someone who's trying. To have a goal and to try for that can be embarrassing. Fuck no. All of the people who inspire me the most are people who want ridiculous things, who have huge fucking dreams, and they sweat to make them real. That is inspiring shit. And I promise you, all of those people who are living that feel amazing in the process. Yes, there's going to be hard times. There's going to be, you're going to get tired. You're going to want to have naps. You're going to want to have your self-care days, of course. But for lack of a better word, when the grind is what you really want to be doing, feels fucking great. It feels so good when I'm just creating things and I don't know how much time has passed. It's irrelevant. I'm not sat there like, oh, I shouldn't work X amount of hours today because that's overwork and I'm in hustle mode. It's completely irrelevant. It's in a different realm of doing things. And I think this is the real difference between creativity and productivity. When you're creating, you are playing, you're expressing, you're capturing parts of yourself. It's simply you moving through life in your fullest expression, and you're making things from that because you feel compelled to do that. And It's this kind of regenerating energy. I think when we get into productivity land or we're working towards something we don't necessarily give a shit about, when we expend energy on that thing, that energy is gone, and then we have to retreat away from it to rebuild our energy. Whereas when you're doing the creative work that you love, what tends to happen is creative energy regenerates itself. So yeah, you're expending energy to make the thing, you're pouring yourself into the thing you're creating, but somehow it gives you more energy in return. It's fucking magic. It's the coolest thing ever. I'm sure you've felt this when you've been in moments of flow, as we call it, or you've just been lost in a project. It gives you so much more energy. It makes you so excited to sit down to work tomorrow and keep creating the thing. And that's the kind of energy that I really, really want to prioritize for myself. And I want to encourage you guys as well to find the things that make you feel like that. Find the things that give you energy when you do them, because that is how, in my opinion, we live really fucking exciting and passionate lives. And that's what I'm all about. If you would like to join me to make your 2023 the hottest, most prolific year possible, like I'm talking, we're making all of the things that we want to make, we're taking up our space in the biggest ways possible, then please join me for Delicious 2023. It's a live interactive workshop that I'm running at the end of this month. It's on the 29th of December. We're going to get together on Zoom. I've been talking about bringing cake, and I think we should all bring cake and have a little end of the year party. And we're going to celebrate all the things that we've done this year. And we're going to look forward to next year and quite literally go through our projects. And I'm going to show you how I plan multiple projects at once to make sure that I do these things and have space to explore new ideas. It's going to be really fun, and I'm really excited for you guys to leave this workshop with a framework and a strategy for how you're going to create through all of next year. That's really fucking big, and it's really exciting, and I want it to be something that feels playful and that you feel very experimental going into it. Not that you're starting the year with a big fucking to-do list, but like you're starting the year so excited with what you're going to be able to spend your time creating and how you're going to feel creating all this stuff. So I will leave the link below. Get your ticket, join us. We're going to have the best fucking time. Remember, you can be, do, and have anything and everything that you desire. I will speak to you in the next one. Bye.